Bitcoin mining could take off if there's excess energy from solar being loaded into Powerwalls. It can be offloaded into Bitcoin mining, and the whole ecosystem, therefore, becomes much more economic. If this happens, we believe that the adoption of solar is going to accelerate dramatically because there's another profit center associated with it, Bitcoin mining.
They've had a lot of headaches and protests in Shanghai. Is the Chinese market at risk for Tesla?
Hey, I'm Steven and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So in this video, I react to comments from Ark Invest Cathie Wood sharing her thoughts on Tesla Bitcoin mining via solar and Powerwall, her thoughts on Tesla's future in China, and we also see Cathie Wood take a low-key dump on Jim Cramer. So let's get into the video. And by the way, since I know there's a lot of crypto lovers watching and people who like free stuff, it's your lucky day. For a limited time, you can get up to $250 in free crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, where you can use cryptocurrency to earn interest, borrow cash, and buy or sell crypto. If you want your free crypto, use the link in the description. It also helps out the channel. And if you'd like up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 1 free stock valued up to $250 just for opening an account. And if you fund your account with $100, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $1,600. Unless you don't like free stocks, that is. And if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake, also using the link in the description. Let's get back to it.
We believe that Bitcoin mining integrated into the distributed grid, and by that I mean solar roofs, power walls in homes, utilities, merchant power producers, starting to include Bitcoin mining in the ecosystem. Why would they do that? They would do it because renewables are intermittent power sources, right? Weather, is it sunny or not? Wind, is it windy or not? And Bitcoin mining could take off if there's excess energy from solar being loaded into Powerwalls. It can be offloaded into Bitcoin mining, and the whole ecosystem, therefore, becomes much more economic. If this happens, we believe that the adoption of solar is going to accelerate dramatically because there's another profit center associated with it, Bitcoin mining.
Now, why does that sound familiar? Oh, that's right. This is something that I speculated with my Patreon supporters in an exclusive Q&A months ago. By the way, if you're not already supporting me on Patreon, this is where a lot of these early ideas simmer to the surface. I do regular Q&As where you can ask me literally any question. Nothing is off limits whatsoever. So if you're interested in supporting, getting early access to some of those early ideas, feel free. And by the way, I do not need the money, so don't feel obliged to support me on there just for its own sake. But if you want to get access to some of that early stuff, feel free. By the way, maybe a couple of months later, I also posted this publicly on the YouTube channel. Maybe Cathie's been watching. Just kidding. But here's what I said. And now it's time for some rampant speculation. I don't have any proof or evidence here, but I do want to share some thoughts and hypothesize a little bit. Let's reread part of this quote from Elon. Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transitions to more sustainable energy. Guys, what's Tesla's mission? To accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. We've already speculated that Tesla in the future will allow people to mine forms of cryptocurrency with spare compute in their Teslas and or using Powerwall, solar, etc. with some of the surplus energy. This, in my opinion, is the biggest clue so far. I am all but certain now that something's brewing in terms of cryptocurrency mining behind the scenes at Tesla. It aligns perfectly with their mission. So I would expect some announcements in the relatively near future, possibly from the master of coin, but more likely from Elon Musk, the techno king himself. Now, as I said, that was pure speculation, but it's interesting that both Cathie Wood and myself have speculated in the exact same direction. It seems blindingly obvious to me, at least, that in the future, Tesla is going to enable customers who have solar and Powerwalls to use some of that excess energy for renewable, sustainable cryptocurrency mining. It's going to allow them to print more money for their customers, meaning you buy solar and Powerwall and you can start printing money, not just performing energy arbitrage, selling energy back to the grid, etc., but also using some of that surplus energy to generate income, revenue from mining Bitcoin and other forms of cryptocurrency, which effectively will accelerate Tesla's mission because the overall total cost, the net cost of owning that setup, the solar and the battery, will be lower to the end consumer. Much like buying a Tesla and deploying it as a robotaxi in the future can help pay for some of the cost of the actual hardware, the same will be true of solar and battery if it can do things like print money while you're asleep, mining cryptocurrency, etc. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this is possible? Do you think this is likely? Do you think this is inevitable? Will Tesla at some point in the future allow users to use surplus energy generated from solar stored in Powerwalls to mine cryptocurrency to generate additional income? After all, this would be a massive accelerant for the adoption of both solar and home batteries, which further aligns with Tesla's mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy.
In the case of Square and Tesla, they're between 5 and 8% of their cash is in Bitcoin. So I don't think so. That's no cause for concern. I mean, think about it. We were worried that Tesla would run out of cash. Of course, Ark was not worried, but the world was worried 2 years ago that it would run out of cash. It has so much cash now that it has the luxury to put 5 to 8% in Bitcoin. But we do believe that once they understand how renewables are becoming incorporated into the Bitcoin mining ecosystem, and that Bitcoin mining might accelerate the adoption of solar. And I think Elon will come back and be a part of that ecosystem as well.
Hey, I want to ask you a little bit more about Tesla. Obviously, you've been out there front and center years ahead when everybody was turning their backs on Tesla, taking another hit. The news out of China, they have certainly had some tough time. Their growth has slowed substantially. They've had a lot of headaches and protests in Shanghai after some accidents with its cars. Is the Chinese market at risk for Tesla?
Now, before Cathie Wood responds, I just want to interject here with some breaking news coming out of China, which appears to indicate that Tesla China is swinging around their gigantic legal dong and turkey slapping some of these media outlets for spreading FUD, resulting in a number of public apologies for lying, misleading, and deceiving the general public by reporting falsehoods about Tesla. It's interesting that Tesla doesn't seem to bother taking these actions in the US. Maybe that's got something to do with the fact that YouTube is banned in China, but it's not banned in the United States. Anyway, let's head over to Twitter. This tweet from Ray for Tesla. Once again, we see an official apology by a Chinese social media outlet for exaggerating facts. Another apology from a Chinese social media outlet who reported fake news regarding Tesla. And by the way, it doesn't end there. Here's a tweet from Beijing Daily, China state-affiliated media. Tesla posted on Chinese social media, Sina Weibo, 6 apology statements on Friday made by some personal or so-called We media accounts over slight false information in the content they posted about the car maker. So there are numerous apologies being posted throughout social media saying, hey guys, we're sorry, we misreported garbage without fact-checking. Now, I don't know for sure, maybe this is just a coincidence, but I've got a pretty funny feeling that Tesla's been really pressuring these outlets, potentially with some legal threats. Again, this is speculation. Maybe someone from Tesla can slide into my DMs on Twitter and let me know what's actually going on here. But in either case, this is good to see.
I think the China is going to favor its local producers like NIO and others, XPeng. And I think they're granting subsidies to NIO, which is the battery swap company, even on its very high-end cars, which they are not granting to Tesla. So it's obvious, and it has always been obvious, that China would favor a local producer. But what we are seeing from China, and particularly Tesla, is exports into Europe. Where it does not yet have a plant. And what we're hearing is especially in Germany, but all over Europe, where their standards are extremely high for cars in terms of design and performance, that they would prefer cars from Shanghai, which is a much newer plant, and much more productive, much more efficient in terms of perfecting these designs than is Fremont. And so I think we're seeing a big export market develop from China into Europe. And I think China will like that. China wants to be known not for shipping or exporting, cheap goods, but also high-end goods. So this could be the beginning of a trend.
Now, this is a great but extremely obvious point from Cathie Wood. While I personally believe that Tesla will continue to sell insane numbers of vehicles locally in China, the Shanghai factory ultimately is going to be a huge center for exports. To use a personal example, I currently live in Australia, I was born in Australia, And you'd have to be a moron running a company to decide to build a factory in Australia to produce products for the Australian market if they're large, complicated and expensive, when instead you could build a factory in China, somewhere else in Asia, etc. with much lower labor costs, much lower materials costs, much lower parts costs, and then export high quality products to a country like Australia instead. We just don't have the population density, and it just doesn't make any sense economically. So over the long term, I agree, the Shanghai factory is likely to be doing a lot of export to many parts of the world, especially the Asia Pacific region. I don't think this should really be surprising news to anyone.
So is China at risk then for Tesla? I mean,
I don't think they're going to shut down the factory at all. I think that factory will be used much more for exporting than we once imagined. I will say that Tesla's cars in China have sold very well until very recently. I'm sure the publicity it has received has cooled Tesla's jets in China, but it's been fortuitous that this export market has opened up at the same time.
Your performance has been really consistent. It's been a tougher year this year, and you've had flows out of your funds. I was tracking I think over the last week, it's almost $1 billion. So, how do you keep your investors kind of energized in your philosophy and your thinking and your outlook and confident in your strategy, in a moment where there's a lot of doubt out there?
Yes. Well, a couple of things just in terms of flows. In our biggest outflows were in March. There are a lot of commentators out there, shall I say, screaming about how ETFs would have to, or our ETFs would have to shut down, which is impossible. And they just don't understand the ETF infrastructure surrounding us.
So just in case you guys missed that, Cathie Wood was singularly referring to Jim Bear Stearns' fine Cramer, suggesting that he has no idea what the f*** he is talking about, in much gentler terms. Lucky for you guys, I'm here to translate. If you guys didn't see the video, I think about 100 and so thousand people did. Check it out in the corner. Jim Cramer suggesting Cathie Wood should shut down the ARK funds after a tiny little bump in the road in terms of their performance. Keeping in mind, growth stocks are extremely volatile and they've destroyed market returns over the last 5+ years. Jim Cramer, very short-term perspective, of course, CNBS, it's all about trading. What stock's up today? What should I buy tomorrow? What should I sell next week? Forget about next month, next quarter, next year, or next decade. No. Jim Cramer embarrassing himself a little bit there. Cathie Wood snapping back. Of course, Jim Cramer had a huge influence on a lot of investors. Remember, there's plenty of people out there that get their news from CNBS. They are on one side of the bell curve, let's be honest. But hey, there's the people watching YouTube, and then there's the people who watch the mainstream finance media for their news. Plenty of people do that, and plenty of people act on the mainstream finance media news. So Jim Cramer probably had a very direct effect on a lot of outflows on the ARK funds. But truth be told, from fairly dumb investors who probably shouldn't have been investing in that stuff anyway, because they didn't know what they were doing and didn't have a long-term time horizon. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Tesla's going to release a cryptocurrency mining integration for their solar Powerwall, something along those lines in the future? Or are Cathie Wood and I kind of crazy? I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget, if you'd like up to $250 in free crypto bonuses with BlockFi, use the link in the description. You can also get 2 free stocks with WeBull and a free stock with Stake, also linked in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.